Freewell and PolarPro Mist Edition VNDs. So that was PolarPro. It's pretty misty. Brings up the blacks. I like it. She likes it. I think you like it. Let's get to Phil.
Today we're talking about VND Mist filters. This is a not who's better film, it is a comparison film. So we're comparing the mist in these VNDs. Only two companies make VND mist filters. So Freewell and PolarPro. I love both of them. They both have fantastic glass. So it's not really a who's better, it is a personal preference as to the mist in the VND. They are both 1/8 mists. You can get mists in quarter, 1/8, 1/16, and so on. The most popular are quarter and 1/8. They are both running on 1/8 mists. Now, what is a VND? A VND is a variable neutral density filter, and that looks like this. So it's a filter that you turn, and it limits the amount of light going through that filter. So let me just show you a quick example of that. And I'm dark. And that's what it does. It limits the amount of light coming through the filter into your lens, onto your sensor, so that a cinematographer, a filmmaker, a YouTuber can basically stick to the 180-degree rule, which states that if you have a frame rate of 25 frames, you need to double that to get your shutter speed, which will be 1/50th in Europe. That will allow you to achieve natural motion blur like you've seen in all the Hollywood films since more or less the beginning of time. So it's very important for it to look natural. If you have too high a shutter speed, during the day it's going to be kind of very jittery and jaggedy and it's going to look fugly. So don't buy cheap filters. The reason for that is because filter is the first thing that is in front of your lens. And if you buy a cheap filter, I have an example of one right here. It is gonna bloom your highlights. Now, a mist filter, what it does is it kind of brings up the shadows, so they're kind of milky smooth, and it will bloom the highlights. You may not be able to see it in that because it's not a strong light source, but in this you can see this kind of halo around it, and it should be bringing up the blacks in my t-shirt a little bit. But the thing this filter is doing is it's making my face look like it's been painted with some kind of soft, misty, weird crap. So let me just pull it off a little bit so you can see the difference. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. It's crap. This costs about $10. I do not recommend it. It's by a company called Zome, and it's just a very, very bad filter. The reason you don't put bad filters on your lens is because you can't fix it in post-production. So it's better not to buy a filter at all if you can't afford a good one. Save up, buy yourself a good filter. Now, I am collecting mists, so I've got Moment, which were kind enough to send me. Freewell sent me, Nissi sent me, PolarPro sent me. I'm getting one from Schneider Optics. Tiffin is right here. This is no doubt the most expensive one. The Black Pro Mist Quarter. Prism Lens Effects, Hader, basically every single mist you can think of. I will be making a separate film on comparing them, but today we're talking about VND mists. Now, this is the most expensive one you can buy on the planet. Let me put it on. There you go. So you can see it's creating a beautiful halo, but my face, it's sharp. Now, a mist will, like I said, bring out the blacks, but this is a Black Pro mist, so it keeps them down, and it will halo the light sources. So it's really great at night because the street lights, the car lamps, the neon signs will look very dreamy, very 80s. It will have a very specific effect, which makes it great for music videos, documentaries, shorts, vanity films. It's a lens that you should have in your kit, and it's something that you should save up and keep very, very safe because it's very, very expensive. I love the Tiffin, but the Tiffin will look different to the PolarPro and the Freewell. Now, let's take this guy off, put him safely right there. Let's talk about these two filters. One comes in a metal box, and it has a magnetic lens cap right there, which is cool because you take it out of your box and you screw it onto your lens, pull off the magnetic lens cap, and you've never touched the glass. That is fantastic. I really love it. It also has haptic feedback, which may not be as smooth as the PolarPro, but you're paying $109.99 for the Freewell filter. For the PolarPro, you're paying $249.99, so it's over twice the price. So haptic feedback, they're both 1/8 in terms of mist strength. The PolarPro comes with something called the 180-degree rule, the 360 Defender, or the Defender 360. And it's really great because it has a cap on the back that you screw off, which means that it's completely sealed, making it waterproof and dustproof. And you pull it off, you get your lens. This is an 82mm. I always recommend buying the biggest you can because you can make them smaller using the filter, you know, forget what they're called. This also has haptic. So when you turn it and you're not looking at your lens, you know that you're going down a stop or you're going up a stop. Same as the Freewell. And the great thing about it is that you can actually put on the Defender and the rear cap, so it's all in one place. So that is really well thought out. Tighten grip on the Defender, pull it off, and you've got your filter off again. So that is really a great design by PolarPro. When it comes to the actual look of the filters, one is got this kind of goldy glow to it, one has got a kind of purpley glow to it. But physically, they're almost identical. You can see in terms of features, they're identical. Price is different, of course, but you're paying for a slightly different filter with a Peter McKinnon signature. And I did buy the original for the same price, and I've got to tell you, I'm very happy with it. Let's talk about the differences in mist. Well, actually, let's screw talking about it. Let me just show you what they look like so you can see exactly the differences, because you're going to be choosing these by personal preference. You're going to be seeing that something kind of blooms a little bit different. It kind of pulls the blacks up a little bit different. So let me show you what each one looks like in different situations so you can choose for yourself.
Before we start, this is the cult classic, Tiffin Black Pro Mist. This fine spray of particles in the Freewell is very similar to the Tiffin, whilst the more grainy structure of the PolarPro gives a slightly different feel and look to it. This is Gosha in her living room with nothing on at all, as in no filter. Let's stick on the classic Tiffin quarter and see what that does. As you can see, it's softened it, it's lowered the contrast. Now let's try the Freewell. As you can see, it adds a little bit of a cold tint, and that's something we can fix really easily in post, and has a very similar look to the Tiffin quarter. What will the PolarPro look like? Cold tint as well. Well, let's fix that and have a look. It seems the blacks are a little bit deeper in the Tiffin, so that's a personal preference really, isn't it? This is Gosha again, with nothing on. Let's put on the Tiffin quarter. Lowered contrast, it looks very nice. The blacks are quite nice in this too. Freewell, once again, giving a bit of a cooler tint we can fix. I do like the blacks in that. And the PolarPro, those blacks are deeper, they're stronger. I like that look as well. So let's go back to my studio now and look at me, waving a pocket light around like a madman. This is no filter. This is the Tiffin Quarter Black Pro Mist, quite bloomy. This is the Freewell, it's also fairly bloomy in places. And this is the PolarPro. It's actually quite controlled, but a nice bit of bloom. Now if you look at them all next to each other, you'll see what I mean by personal preference. They all have a certain quality to them.
That was nice, wasn't it? Now, one thing I haven't talked about is cross-polarization. You don't get it with these filters. They have hard stops. When you reach the end, it kind of stops. Which, as opposed to, for example, my Tiffin, which I've been using for such a long time, this thing will spin around and around and around and around and around and around, which has actually ruined a few shots of mine because when I was running and gunning, I didn't notice that I had cross polarization. And what that basically looks like is a big X on your screen. It's a big fat black X and your whole shot is ruined. So that's fantastic about both these filters, no cross polarization. So it's really down to you which one you prefer, which one you feel looks the best, which one retains the image quality that you're looking for. Do you want to buy the Freewell? Do you want to buy the PolarPro? Let me know in the comments below because I am interested in which ones you like as well. Very shortly, once I get the final filters I'm waiting for, I will be doing a huge comparison of every single mist available. And I'll be dropping that. If you did like my film and it helped you buy one of these, affiliate links below by the way, do give me a thumbs up because that really helps. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so you'll get more of these cool films coming in your direction. Anyway, once more, don't put shit on your lens. It'll ruin everything. Literally everything. Anyway, catch you soon.
OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. Watch me walk away, putting myself on display. 1, 2, 3 a day. I'm on my way, on my way. I'ma have you on tiptoes, watching my diamond afterglow. I know you wanna take me home. I'm on my way, on my way.